I might have had to light myself on fire.
Yeah, we would just be sitting in this room. The room's on fire. Everything's fine. Everything's good.
Everything's good.
Yeah.
I have my co-host here with me, who's a Lady Gaga expert, Ben. Say hi, Ben.
Hi. Yeah, I'm not really a Lady Gaga expert, but...
Are you excited?
I'm excited.
I'm excited. We're all fired up. Let's co-op. Let's talk some Stockton. Huh?
Yeah. So now here's my next avenue of where I want to go, which is it's in the similar vein. Is that I saw this on my Facebook feed. I saw this Ghost in the Shell film, right? And of course, it's getting a lot of flack from a lot of people because Scarlett Johansson's the main character. It's she's not Asian. It's a Japanese anime. Yada yada yada. And so it was like whitewashing, with the character, whatever it was. So my thing is not about the movie itself. I mean, it is a very big pop culture phenomenon because Ghost in the Shell was really huge, when I was growing up in anime. But the thing is there was a lot of interesting dialogue throughout the Facebook threads about social justice and political correctness. So kind of give me your thoughts on what you think is going on now, because I don't know if this existed or not when I was growing up in early college. As far as political correctness, I do kind of remember the white knighting, which we can get into a little bit too. But
oh goodness, you're gonna ask me to go into dangerous territory.
I know, but it's happening every day.
It's happening, and I think, oof. All right, so Iron Fist got a lot of flack for this too. The Netflix, right? Is that
Netflix?
The Netflix, sorry. They got a ton of flack for this too because it was very whitewashed with it, and I think when you're presenting to actors, sometimes if they don't have a huge background on the story, they're not going to think about it. A job's a job,
right? And they're trying to find work.
I think that you're seeing a lot more diversity in what's happening in films. We talk about this all the time, but Rogue One, you're featuring a woman, you're featuring a Hispanic male as your lead.
Space Latinos. Who would ever thought you'd see a Hispanic captain in Star Wars universe?
The only thing they were missing for it.
Okay, that's getting a little out of there.
Well, actually, there was something I saw, and I'll show you the link a little later today that has that whole bit into it.
Okay.
It does go back to that entire stereotyping and whatnot, how it falls into.
Right.
So.
I think that what's happened is, I remember when this happened in the late 90s, you were talking about political correctness and you had to be careful about what you say and everything like that. It's almost gotten on steroids now.
Yeah.
People are just, honestly, my thought on it is that people have it so good that they're looking for things to be pissed off about. And that's kind of my thought on it, is that people they have it so good. If you think about, I look at this, I talk about my trip to Greece all the time, but I look at this, you're going to have trouble with flushing toilets. It's over there. It's a European country, one of the oldest countries in human civilization, and you're going to have problems with flushing toilets. We've got things pretty good here in the U.S. And I think that a lot of things it's very hard to be 100% careful about everything you think or say 100% of the time.
Yeah.
I don't think 90% of these things where you have people that are protesting out in front of somebody's job wanting to get them fired, I don't think 90% of these things are done maliciously.
No.
I think some of it is very difficult to understand. Maybe they got brought up. Maybe they don't know a lot of people on the other side of the aisle. Maybe they haven't talked to a lot of people from a very different background. Not to say that that's malicious, that they're going out of their way because they hang out with a lot of white people that they're bad people, or because they hang out with a lot of Hispanic or Asian people.
Do you think people get pigeonholed into that though? Like they haven't really established those values and beliefs yet, and then somebody comes in, hey, you should come out with me and stand for this and that, and then everybody's out there, and then you're kind of wondering why am I out here with this picket sign? And I don't know.
You're sort of raised. If you're raised as a kid and you're going to follow a certain belief, depending on how your elders, the people around you are acting. But the going back on the main topic, it's I'm wondering if different cultures look at the U.S. Do they have this sort of same bias? Oh, well, that should have been a Hispanic person, or that should have been a black. Do they have that in different parts of the world, or is it just an American thing?
I'm not sure. Like,
Well,
I'm not sure, but I also look at we're probably the single most diverse country in the world. That we're a country that it's not just white people. We have people from a Hispanic background, Asian background, people of African American background. So we have a lot more. Like if you go to Greece, you're going to have a lot of dark-haired, dark-eyed white people. Like this.
Greece. Oh, okay.
You know, if you go to
He's
Spain,
internal mapping.
No, I was thinking Sparta. Like this is Sparta.
No,
a bunch of dark-haired, dark-eyed, very chiseled, very devilishly handsome fellas. I can relate.
Yeah, keeping it sexy.
But I think that other cultures look at this about what people are protesting about and what people get really fired up about. Two, I think some of the protests can be done. It's good. You want to be active, be active. But getting out there and screaming about something is one thing. Going out there and are you calling people? Are you walking your precinct? Are you encouraging people to get out and vote? What are you doing besides going out there and screaming? Screaming is one thing. Action is another.
Yeah.
And so you'd like to see if people really, truly wanted to make a difference besides just saying, hey, I'm part of the group and I'm out here and I'm protesting. What have you done in your follow-up?
Right.
For that?
Well, and that's easy, right? Because like now that we have all these channels to, express our own opinions, anybody can just get behind a computer and just type whatever. Haha, yes. And like, and then you meet that person maybe actually out in the real world, beyond the monitor, and then they're not that way at all.
What if there was a way to actually like call out keyboard warriors and actually like put them on the spot in reality in the real world? Because there's a lot of people that you'll meet online that'll act a certain way, but then the moment that they're out in public, they act completely 360. And it's something even in video game culture you see it.
And you're seeing that with a lot of newspapers have either shut down their comments sections, or they're requiring somebody to have a login so that they know who they actually are, or tying it to a Facebook.
Or they're heavily editing it too, right? Like and think about that with WWE, just public figures and wrestling in general. Like if they say something completely wrong, somebody's snapshotting that. They almost don't have time to delete their Twitter. Like, oh, I messed up, but then somebody's like, hey, I snapped this person's timeline. Look what they said.
Look how fast it happens. Like big corporations, like the one that accidentally somebody was logged into McDonald's feed and put something politically controversial on there. It was taken down in a matter of like minutes, but still, like there are people on the web that all they do is just.
He got Mayor McCheese with the fire. I saw that Twitter. You get that down, hamburgers. Like we got bastard on it.
But in that period, in that short period of time, there are people out there that are watchdogging it. Some algorithm, and they screenshot it. I mean, not getting into politics, but look at the president. Every time he tweets, and then he rehashes immediately. Like something gets deleted. You see it. It's there.
Well, and that's the PR team, right? I mean, at the end of the day, we can go back to this, and we were talking about some PR stuff with the what was the recent thing? The Oscars, right? The flub with the hey, we got the wrong. We gave him the wrong.
I don't understand that. Not that I really care about.
Well, basically, what happened was the wrong movie won. Like the card had whatever movie that was supposed to win, and they gave the wrong card for thing.
The winning still goes to the other one, right? Or is that the whole controversy? Like
no, the controversy was that they read off the wrong movie.
But I mean, the other movie still won. So
that's the thing is everybody came up for La La Land and it wasn't La La Land, and then somebody everyone's in the back is like we gave them the wrong card or we messed up or something. It was really Moonlight Drive or whatever it was, so they had to come out and tell everybody, hey, look, you guys really didn't win. And you see everybody and you see Ryan Gosling like laughing, he thinks it's funny, and Emma Stone's like, oh my god, what's going on?
So technically at this point the PR people are lighting themselves on fire with like gasoline, right?
Well, but that's I think that's a combination of things though. That's just a big team effort. That's not just the PR for whoever runs the Oscars. That's
your PR, that's your production staff, that's your
there's a lot of cogs in that wheel.
Have you ever thought that maybe that stuff happens on purpose just to create controversy?
I don't know. I mean, since that's such a
tinfoil hat time conspiracy.
Are we getting into conspiracies?
Ooh,
should there be a little like buzz like?
Ooh. I can't wait till our September 11th episode.
Ooh.
We'll just talk about local conspiracy theories all day long.
That sounds
That'll
good.
That'll be awesome. I don't know. Sometimes you do it. We had. I remember the one time I saw Professor Fredrickson and Professor Hackley get into it. Was talking about press, and Professor Fredrickson was arguing that any press you get is good press, and she's already you want to make sure that you're getting the good press. Well, he's talking about it from a political political side, where if you have a stunt like this, people are talking about it for days and days, and who knows? I'd actually be very curious. Just put on the tinfoil hat, make sure it fits snugly.
Yeah.
I'd be very curious to see what the ratings are next year. People are looking back.
Are you gonna,
watching to see if they're going
to you compare those ratings that they have every year for the Oscars, and then it's like, well, what's going to happen this time? Like, I mean, that's the comparable to Steve Harvey's flub, right? With the Miss USA.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they're having him back again to do it.
As they should.
Yeah, of course.
The other reason that I bring up along that line is the whole bit with Kim Kardashian. I don't like to bring up her name just because I try and stay away from it. But there's something that apparently somebody got within her comfort zone, and she made it seem like, oh my God, I'm going to be robbed again. And security just saw it was just somebody walking by that couldn't see was crap. But the entire thing is that when I think about the whole Paris stealing thing, that was just a cry for attention because she herself is slipping in the ratings. She's not the top.
She wasn't gaining momentum anymore.
Yeah,
her figure, her presence in the social media eye was.
Now everybody's talking about her sister, sister.
But that's the thing. It's like if you're so holden to a certain status, you have to be
you create your own drama at that point.
You have to just so that you get back into relevancy.
Mm-hmm. I mean, in some people, quasi celebrities, people that are famous for no reason, like Kim, I'm sure that spotlight, once it's gone, is the only thing that really keeps them going. So they've got to try and do anything that they want to do. I don't know if that's the case or not. The Kardashians drive me absolutely up the wall. Absolutely up the wall.
New topic.
Yes, so we're off of social justice and political correctness.
Thank you. I might have had to light myself on fire.
Yeah, we would just be sitting in this room. The room's on fire. Everything's fine. Everything's good.
Everything's good.
Yeah.
I think I'll bring up one last thing on this. We talked about this before about how dangerous it is for brands to pick a side.
Yes.
You pick a side. Nobody, absolutely nobody wants to move from one side to the other. They've picked their sides and they're dug in. Their heels are dug in. There's absolutely no willingness to cross the aisle and work together whatsoever.
Like the rebels in the Empire in Star Wars?
That's exactly it. There will be no peace.
Yeah.
There was the pilot that defected, so technically
Okay. Well, yeah.
So one or two.
Yeah.
So it's dangerous to do that, and it's sad because I think that a lot of the world's ills could be solved by looking right in the middle if people would be willing to come to that and not think that everything is done maliciously, like you're trying to put people down or that you're trying to show your imperialistic tendencies, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Anyways, all right, I'm done. Before I walk myself off.
So what have you been up to, Greek? What's new in the? I know you're so busy. You probably don't have time to check out anything pop culture related. Maybe a movie or two or something on Netflix. But we have to talk about this because you saw the Game of Thrones teaser, right? And I know you're into Game of Thrones like I am. Game of Thrones. So let's talk a little bit about what that teaser was. I know they were just walking down some halls and they sat on some thrones. And it was enough to everybody get all hyped up. So now everyone's theory crafting about what, okay, we got the three main characters sitting on different thrones. What's that throne that Daenerys is sitting on? I've never seen that throne before. That's not the Iron Throne. Of course, Jon's sitting in that hall which is Winterfell, exactly. And then Cersei's actually on the Iron Throne. So what are your thoughts on this little teaser trailer? Because that's all it was three characters walking and sitting in a room.
Okay, my thoughts on the teaser trailer is the production staff is showing me that they've recorded stuff for this next season.
Yep.
I'm not going to glean anything else. I'm like, okay, you have now given yourself a hard date of when this first episode's coming out.
Yeah.
That's all I needed.
Yeah. Is it July?
July.
Okay.
I think July 17th or something
July
like that.
17th.
I'm like, okay, thank you guys. You're letting me know you're doing your job. That's going to suffice. I'm not going to try and glean anything out of this at all, even though I know what they're trying to do with it, with the blue eye at the end, and we'll see. It's I know every season, I think they have one White Walker centric episode, but I think that might change this season where they have.
You think it's going to be more? Because I mean, that's the whole thing. Is if you're caught up on the season, the White Walker, winter's coming.
Should we say spoiler alert? So if
spoiler.
Wait.
Yeah. If anybody's not caught up on Game of Thrones, now is the time to still give this pod a rating and a listen.
Yeah.
Go ahead and take off now.
Yeah. Turn it off now. Save yourself some time. Come back when you've caught up with the seasons. You haven't caught up.
I have yet to.
All right.
Pass the first,
So we gotta dance around this issue a little bit.
Well, I have till the summer to watch. How many seasons are there?
What do we start? About to start season 7.
7. So yeah, you have 6.
So great.
But you've watched a couple, right? Already?
Yeah, the first two. Yeah. So.
Okay.
He's got some work to do.
Yeah, he's got a lot of work to do. So what? As far as Game of Thrones go, what characters do you really gravitate to the most? That from the 6 seasons that we've seen.
I like Sir Davos. Cracks me up. Tyrion cracks me up.
Sir Davos is who?
The Onion Knight. He was oh my gosh, Baratheon's. The little
with the beard. Yes.
Guy,
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
The one he's working with Jon Snow now.
Yeah.
Obviously, Big Ginge, the big northern guy, the big redhead guy.
Oh yeah. Is that what they call him, Big Ginge? The one that he has
Tormund Giantsbane.
He has flirty eyes for Brienne of Tar. Yeah.
I think one of the things I'd love to I haven't read the book, so
I haven't either.
So
I have a book. I have a book, and I started reading it, and I went. I'm just my face hit the pillow pretty quick.
So full exposure might be very different in the books and how it is in the show, but honestly, I think probably the character that's had the most growth and been the most impressive to watch in his change
Tyrion?
has been Jaime Lannister.
Oh, Jaime Lannister.
As he started as arrogant, sister-loving
prick. Yeah, that's the best. That's the best way to put it. And then he's just kind of like after he goes through all of the experiences through each season. Like now he's kind of trying to seek redemption. Right? Mm-hmm. He's just like, I really did drop the ball, big time. Mm-hmm. Like, and I lost a hand for it, and a lot of other stuff.
He lost a hand and kids and
and I think that was really like the big point for him, right? Mm-hmm. When the daughter was dead, and he was just like, wow, like it really hit home for him.
It's weird because you see like the Lannister with humanity, because that really wasn't. They were very pro their family, very proud of their family, and that's just what they did. And it was everybody else be damned. And you see him start to have that humanity side of things where, no, I'm not going to chop your head off. Let's negotiate this now. Yeah. And so I'm most curious to see how his character is going to deal with this next season. Yeah. Because if I have my theories on this is that I think you're going to have 2 of those 3 characters in the teaser team up to try and kick the butt of the other character.
Well, and we already kind of know that, right? Because we know a lot of people are teaming with Jon, and then we know a bunch of people are teaming with Daenerys. So we already kind of have an idea that, of course, if you've kind of looked at the timeline and the bracket of the family tree, we know that Daenerys would be the aunt of Jon. So if they both team up, and it makes sense because, we know with the Lannisters, it's really always been out for them. Cersei plots, she schemes. I wouldn't be surprised if she just lets them duke it out with the other, the other group, and then kind of swoop in. And that was very similar to what happened in that one season with the boats. There was the attack on King's Landing, and then they had set it all up with what's the maester, or no wait, there's 2 maesters, right? Or is there one? There's one guy that's just all alchemy.
Yeah, there's the maester,
Grand Maester, the old perverted guy. Yeah,
Pycelle.
But then the guy that took his place now, he worked with Cersei for quite a while.
Yeah, he wasn't a maester, I don't think.
No, but he took on that role later. It's like, oh well, because then they plot and scheme and got that one guy out, and then he's a shoe. We need a new maester. Well, I'm just a shoe-in, baby.
This is a ratty, squeaky little guy.
Yeah, but that's the interesting thing about the show is just instead of just fighting the one main thing, and I think you can see that theme throughout a lot of different TV shows, is that humanity is just always the biggest threat. humans versus humans, right? There could be a bigger threat beyond that. You know, like the dragons, we thought that was a threat. Humans were the worst threat of all these people were just, I want that throne. I want to sit in it, and I'm going to plot and scheme and do whatever I have to do to get there.
Yep. And you look at a character like John or like Ned.
I don't know. He looked like he spit up something else. Like,
Are you taking pictures?
No. I was just sucking out.
Oh, God.
Well, speaking of, can we talk about the Mercedes-Benz of phones right here? He's got all this nice wood.
This Nexus.
Yeah.
Look at that. That's
it's an old model.
Yeah. Self-parks.
But you look at guys like Ned and like Jon Snow, they really just want to be left alone.
Yeah.
Jon, unfortunately, doesn't have that choice because he knows what's coming.
Yeah.
And so he's got to, if you want humanity to survive at all,
took a stand.
He's got to take a stand for it.
Yeah.
But Ned just wanted to be left alone. He's like, look, I'm way the hell up here in the north. Like, just let me do my thing.
I'm chilling.
Winter's coming.
Yeah.
Wait, winter has not come yet?
No, winter is official.
Winter's official here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because that's the only thing that I know is like winter is coming. Winter's been coming for seasons now.
Yeah.
Winter is coming.
It's finally here.
Yeah, it's finally here. We're here.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And man, just a lot of cast of characters that really just drove you up the wall, and they did so well. The one that tortured
Ramsay Bolton.
Yeah, Ramsay Bolton.
Oh my God,
man, what a
I thought they did a great job because I thought Joffrey was terrible. You know, and you think they continue to do this. You think this guy is the worst, and then something happens to him, and then this guy steps in, and then he's the worst. And Joffrey, I mean, give that kid a popsicle. Like, that kid was nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
On a balloon. He was nothing.
Yeah, send him on his way. I was like, this guy is the new guy in town.
That's cute. Go back and run around the back.
Yeah, no, Ramsay, he really stepped the guy. I give props to the guy because, man, I mean, and that's how you know, like, an actor or an actress really does. I mean, Cersei, like, I think your name is Lena Headley. I mean, she does a phenomenal job making you dislike her, and that's fantastic. When they can get to that point, bring their A game every season, like, that's the winner.
And that's so much of a harder role to play. It's like, how do you really, really make sure that everybody who's going to set eyes on you just absolutely despises you?
Yeah.
Is that death threats in real life also pretty much on that status, or what?
You know, I don't know. Well, it's interesting you mentioned that because the Walking Dead guy,
Is it Negan?
Negan. Jeffrey Dean Morgan?
I don't watch Walking Dead. I know Negan from the Chappelle
Yeah.
show.
Well, anyways, the character Negan, and I don't watch it either, so I don't know.
I watch it, and I can't talk about it because I know.
Well, anyways, he was getting those kind of threats, right? Like in real life and
Breaking
stuff.
Bad, right? Have you seen it?
I've seen this season.
The first season.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat.
The wife, I forgot her name, but she
Skylar.
Yeah, she was the only one that, and that's the reason why I bring it up, because she was the one that always would receive death threats, and she was the most hated character. Like, you'd watch it and it's like, leave Walter alone. Just
well, it was interesting because I remember she penned an op-ed that was picked up nationally talking about, here's the difference between me and a character. Oh, but by the way, here's what this character stood for, and so you guys are major buttholes if you're sitting here like sending death threats.
Yeah,
part of it. Like, it was a very well done op-ed. I mean, that's terrible. You're an actress. It's fake stuff.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, you may not like it, you may be uncomfortable with it, but you went out of your way to send a death threat to somebody?
Yeah.
I'm here with that.
Well, and that all kind of, excuse me, if we go back to our little, previous conversation about political correctness and social media and how open that is now, you think that having all of this now has really made the difference? Technology's really changed society and allowed us to just throw these out there now? Do you think actors back then, before the internet, before Twitter and social media were established, do you think they were even getting that back then? They probably are getting more now. It's easier to probably send those threats now.
They were probably getting some to some degree, but not like the volume that they are now.
Yeah. Well, probably because you never saw them in their personal lives. Like outside now, you have paparazzi that are following them around everywhere, so you can see them on a daily basis. But for more of the fact that when somebody has the exposure that someone like Skylar from Breaking Bad, that people will talk about it in like all pop culture and everything. It's like, oh my God, did you see what happened last episode?
Well, that's that fans, I forgot what it's called. there's a term for it, but they go overboard, right? Like it's the above and beyond. It's one thing to like the show, like we enjoy the show, we can sit here and talk about it. It's another thing when you hit that stride where okay, now I'm dressing like Jon Snow, and then I'm acting like Jon Snow, and then I am Jon Snow,
and I'm riding a horse.
And I'm riding the horse through the streets, and I've got the scruffy beard, and everything like I grow my hair out, and everything. But then it's another thing to defend it, right? And now you really have ingrained yourself in that fanboy kind of mentality or girl mentality, and that you're just like everything and anything that irritates you, like you were saying, we're just looking for stuff to pick on and pull out, and I want to argue about it. And that's just with everything, right? Like Rogue One got a lot of flack for certain things, and just movies in general. Like I don't like it because this, and this, or I don't like this game because this, and this, or because it doesn't match up to the previous game. I mean, some of these arguments are justified, but honestly, I think a lot of people are just looking for an excuse to get mad at something.
Yes,
and that's what's going on. That's what's going on. I think
seriously. I think that again, it's people have it very good, and so they're looking for things to. And I don't know if that's something where you just don't feel now like you're going to be part of something that's like revolutionary or life changing or changing the world.
You're talking more like society, like the people that are growing up right now, they feel they're not a part of a big world war. There's no big revolutions that are happening. It's
like everybody can vote.
Yeah.
Nobody's barred from voting. Despite what people may think, nobody's barred from voting.
No. You can vote.
You can vote. Now, some states...
As long as you're an American citizen.
Well,
right?
As long as you're an American citizen. Or, 3 to 5 million illegal immigrants that voted in California. Popular vote. Anyway, so...
Yeah.
Woo! People can vote.
Yeah.
People can get married. There's not restrictions on that anymore.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're right above the Pride Center and everything. So.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So, I think it's people looking at, well, what's the next big thing that I can do? And I think a lot of people with this, it may sound like I'm a Trump supporter and I'm not. I want to make that clear.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want you to get like burned on, at the end of this, and you're like, yeah, so you can find Chris at Chris_Greek on Twitter, and Chris K on air at Gmail, and then you
He's
get
the one running around with the Make America Great Again hat. No,
don't worry, you're not orange.
Yeah, and then you get spammed, and then here we go. The vicious cycle continues.
But I think a lot of people believed a lot of the rhetoric leading into the election, and they've had a hard time deprogramming themselves, and so they're saying, well, this guy is a Nazi. It's like, wait a minute. Like, my great-grandfather literally died fighting Nazis invading his country. Literally died fighting Nazis.
Yes.
Like, they were imprisoning people, executing people. I don't know who's gotten imprisoned. I don't know who's been executed. So it's hard when you hear that rhetoric too. People have a hard time deprogramming themselves. And so that's why I think a lot of this viciousness is coming from this too, is people are thinking, well, I'm stopping the next Hitler from taking power.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think the guy might be inept. Like, I think the guy is too stupid to pull off stuff if he wanted to, which I don't think is the case. I don't think the guy's capable of doing it. So I think some of the rhetoric there where people just, they want to say, well, I was part of the resistance, resist. I was part of the resistance that stopped Hitler 2.0 from taking over this country.
2.0. Keeping the technology real, baby. It's just keeping it real. Yeah, some people, just, at the end of the day, people just want to be a part of something. And we had that conversation a little bit at Denny's with, some of these people where they were talking about our podcast and thinking about syndication, which was like, whoa, I haven't even thought that far ahead. But yeah, just, the engagement and being part of something and being connected to something. Everybody wants to do that. Everybody likes that. And, no, that's all right. Hey, I know you're on a timetable, and I'm sure we're getting to the end here, so we need to wrap it up soon.
Well, don't worry. It'll just eventually bypass the silent mode. It'll just beep, 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 beep.
Yeah. Your phone comes to life and just devours you.
Yeah.
And then you're in
more
cyberspace.
Actually, like, walk up his arm and smack him in the face.
I'm just going to become one with the machine.
Yeah. You're not even really here, right? We're not really here?
Well, it depends on which philosophical point of view you're coming from. Like, are we just a simulation?
So wait a minute. Would this then count a million years from now when people are listening to it and they're like, wait a minute, were they self-aware us listening to them right now.
Well, I'm sure once the aliens decipher the data that we've transmitted, then they're like, they were on. They knew it.
Like, superhumans thought they had free will. Instead, they're just batteries for the machines.
Yeah. Well, speaking of which, they're trying to reboot the Matrix. You know this, right?
They are?
Yeah.
Stop.
Yes.
You can't reboot the Matrix.
No, what they want to do is they want to do a retelling of the Matrix from another Neo's point of view, because you know how Neo was
one of what, 9?
One of however many. They want to tell it from another Neo's point of view.
What would it be if Hollywood wouldn't look at a classic and decide to, 10 years have passed, we need a new one?
Well, and that's the issue too, is that Hollywood is so paranoid about taking a flyer on something original that all they're doing is they're saying, well, we could probably just reboot this and we'll have people go and see it for nostalgia
because
purposes.
That worked for Ghostbusters, right? Because that worked for whatever other reboot that we've seen.
Okay. There is a right way and a wrong way to do a reboot. Ghostbusters, I'm speechless how bad of a reboot that was.
You can't say that because the social justice warriors
you can find me at
well, they thought that any criticism of the new Ghostbusters movie was just strictly because it was women, not that it was a poorly done movie. I mean, I think you take each individual component. Like they're very talented people.
Yeah.
I think you put anybody in a bad situation, you're probably not going to end up with like.
You know what I wanted them to do with Ghostbusters is just have the original guys that were left pass the torch to a younger generation. It would just make sense.
It could have been the women and the men. All of them are still alive. Yeah. They could have all have done it, passed it on,
and integrated that in the film in a creative way.
With everything, the same plot lines, everything, it would have been phenomenal. But they didn't even touch on the fact they had to become like, hey, let's become Ghostbusters instead of realizing that there was a previous existing team.
Yeah. So, or, my buddy always had this idea of his Ghostbuster scenario was Ghostbusters became incorporated. It became a company. They started selling this stuff. They started manufacturing all the equipment that they have, and that would be a Ghostbusters story. Everybody would have it. Everybody was a Ghostbuster. Something like that. They could have done that, but Hollywood just doesn't want to take risks, right?
They don't.
Would that be the same concept of everyone in America having guns? Like, there's no ghost anymore?
It wasn't my idea.
Yeah. I was just saying
that's kind of what's going on in Hollywood. A whole lot, a lot of different reboots.
It's terrible. It's terrible because you wish that people would you could celebrate creativity.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of talented people with a lot of talented scripts, a lot of talented books that you could do and you can make into a great film. It's just the appetite for taking a risk when you're sitting here and talking about all the Marvel movies that are going to cost $200 to $300 million to produce alone. So you've got to clear $1 billion to be able to turn a profit margin that's enough to be palatable to your stakeholders.
For example, even a local artist, Nancy Brooks, she's somebody that currently has a whole bunch of books under her belt, and she's trying to get one of them turned into a movie. And from what I know, don't take it as gospel, but I believe that her book, In a Drink, was supposed to actually be turned into a movie, but at some point the producers said, maybe this might not be something that'll get us enough money. So at the bottom line, does it really come to I know you have to recoup your costs and make some profit.
Yeah.
Does a movie get canceled because it's an original idea, and for original ideas to just keep getting squashed because nobody is willing to take a risk, but the ones that do take the risk, like The Matrix, oh my God, it is now one of the best movies ever.
Yeah.
But you look at other ones that you rehash an old one, you take a risk on it, it just fails horribly.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, you get into one of my other bugaboos is there's a difference between profit and profit margin. And if somebody's making 11% off something and then they're making 9%, they didn't lose money. They're just making less than they did before.
Right.
And so that, too, is if the profit margin is a huge thing that they're looking at with these films. What's it going to cost us to pay for animators? Or I don't know if it was going to be live action or pay for for actors, and we've got to pay for the grips, and all these things that we have to do for this movie. Like, how much can we make if we sell X amount of tickets? We open in this many theaters. We spend this much on marketing. Like, are we going to recoup 10%? Are we going to recoup 25%? What are we? What are we going to
break even?
Yeah. What are we going to do? Are we going? Is this going to return us 100% on our investment? 250%? And so that gets to be a big thing too, and it's terrible. Like you said, it's very difficult. You've got a lot of talented, very very creative, very talented people that don't necessarily have the best outlet for it because they've got to fight a bunch of stupid sequels and remakes, like a Baywatch movie. That's coming out.
I can't believe that.
I want to stab myself in the face when I see a commercial for that. I'm like, why? Why? I love Dwayne Johnson. That guy's never met a film role he has turned down, I don't think.
No.
But,
cut the check.
You smell what he's cooking?
The movie that you showed me yesterday.
Oh, Valerian.
Yeah, that's a graphic novel, isn't it?
Yeah, so Valerian was, and I think we were supposed to talk about this on a podcast, but it's Luc Besson, who's well known for Leon the Professional. Natalie Portman, she was only like 12, I think, when she did that film. It was a huge success. And then Fifth Element, which everyone knows, Bruce Willis. That movie was a year before its time. Still celebrated as a pop culture classic. So he had the person or the artist that did a lot of the stuff for Fifth Element was the original person who wrote and did the work for Valerian, which was his very first comic. It's a very prominent graphic novel in Europe. And so he had always talked with Besson about, how do we get this made? How come we're not doing this? And he's just like, we're just not there yet. We're just, because if you look at the film, Valerian is an agent. He's basically a space agent, like a kind of it's essentially Mass Effect if you played the game, but you're a part of a human faction in the galaxy that kind of polices the galaxy for peace. And so Valerian, and I don't remember her name off the top of my head.
Blonde chick.
Yeah, I want to say it's, and they're going to castrate me for that, but that's fine. I just won't mention it. But he has a partner that he works with, so you've got that dynamic of equality, right? Man and woman working together to bring peace to the galaxy. So the reason why they couldn't do it is because they're the only human characters in the trilogy. Everything else is some weird alien life form.
Oh, I see.
And at the time, CGI, the technology just wasn't there yet. Now he's like, we can do this now.
What about animation, though?
I don't know if that's something they explored. I think when Avatar popped up, I think they really thought, like, this is possible. We can do this now.
There was like a Titan AE. There was even that one Disney pirate movie.
I honestly think creatively they didn't want to go that route.
Okay.
But I know what you mean, like animation wise. But so that's really what the film is about. Is the film is there's a threat to all of the galaxy, to all the species that are in this world, and Agent Valerian and his companion, female companion, Liara. It's not Liara, but it's something. Yeah, please look it up. Anyways, as I'm talking, is they're out to save the universe, and it's an epic. I mean, if you look at it, it feels like Fifth Element. It does, like with the technology and the science. It's a science fiction thrill ride, and it looks like it's going to be exciting. July is when it drops, so July seems big. I mean, we've got Game of Thrones on TV. We're going to have Valerian in films, and it's looking like a good year or a good summer for certain things. Now, Marvel has something I think on the pipeline too, right?
I'm not. I mean, they always do.
Yeah.
Is that the new Spider-Man that's coming?
Yeah, Homecoming. Yeah. And then, of course, now I noticed DC is really pushing Justice League, right? And Wonder Woman. So Wonder Woman, I think, is June.
The first full trailer for that.
Oh, what'd you think of Wonder Woman?
I haven't seen Batman versus Superman, so
I haven't either.
I think that she was in that, so I don't know. I'll be very curious to.
Have you seen the Justice League trailer?
I haven't.
Oh, okay. So that's basically the equivalent of the Avenger. That's the Justice League is to what Marvel's Avengers is essentially. So you've got Batman, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, The Flash, and somebody else.
Yeah. So let me, before we get out of here, let me set off all our comic book fan listeners that are sitting here. So would it be safe to say that I grew up, obviously, I loved comics, big fan of the Punisher, that probably DC had probably the two most prominent comic book characters, but overall Marvel had much better, broader characters that they could get away with. I feel like it.
Sorry.
No, please.
So her name is Laureline. That's her actual
yes.
The name.
So Valerian.
Cara Delevingne.
Delevingne, yeah, model, actress, yes. But yes, Agent Valerian and Laureline is the two main characters, so they always work together, et cetera, et cetera. Anyways, it's got a Mad Max vibe to it.
Yes.
Which Mad Max is obviously a hit.
Well, I have one little note on that just before you jump to yours. I'm just worried, will it wind up in the same shoes as Jupiter Rising? Because it looks phenomenal. But
It's Luc Besson. I'm totally confident. Like he's directing this and producing. I'm totally confident.
Well, you just hit him with the Dikembe finger whack.
Yeah, no.
In my house.
Yeah,
It's be a good
no. He's in charge of this whole thing, creatively working.
It looks beautiful. Actually, somebody, my friend Nick, yesterday noticed the Avatar eyes. Like everyone has that look.
And it's a trilogy. Yeah. It doesn't matter if this is good or not. His company is going to make the next two films.
That's good.
Yeah. All right, Chris.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah,
I'm glad.
Thank you.
I'm glad that we have special guest
Pedro stopped in.
Dropped in out of the blue.
Representing downtown. No pizza, no giggle juice.
Salad next time.
Yeah, salad next time.
Something crunchy.
A game of chess is like a sword fight. You must think first, right? Before you move.
And so where are you at, Chris? Usually
if people want to follow me on Twitter at Chris_the_Greek.
Yep.
It's the best place to get me.
And Pedro, where can we find the company? At roadfinch.com?
Yeah, roadfinch.com, or follow us on Facebook at Roadfinch.
Roadfinch/ or Facebook.com/roadfinch. Of course, you can find me at Chaotic Rogue, Chaotic with a K, Rogue ROGUE. And if we don't have anything yet, but we are in the, once these are done, we're going to start making those Hey Let's Co-op social media outlets so you can get engaged with this if you're interested in this.
Which people will be, because this is awesome.
Yeah, because Team Co-op is awesome. So thanks, guys, for coming into Co-op, and we're wrapping it up. I'll catch you on the next one, buddy.